All right, we are going to get started. So welcome everyone. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. And you're all geared up and ready for Legos this weekend. We're pretty excited. So I am going to get started here. I just wanted to quickly say, on the call tonight here, I have myself. Jeannie is out of town until midweek this week. But I can see I've got a couple of head refs on the line, Mary Trandom and Josh Hogan. Josh is going to be manning the chat for me while I blather on to you guys. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can wait until the end and ask them there. And Josh will do his best to answer those questions. Thanks, Josh, for stepping up and helping me out tonight. Okay.
Now,
All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I'm gonna have to figure out why that happened. Anyway, so thank you, Josh, for for answering some questions there. All right, so I'm gonna start off again by saying we're really excited to see we're gonna see everybody this weekend. I want to take a quick minute to recognize our sponsors. We don't have an opening ceremonies anymore, but I know all of you know that we are a nonprofit and we couldn't bring these events to you without our sponsors. So I would be remiss in not saying thank you to them. Also, without them, our fees, they cover about 2/3 of our fees. So our fees would be a lot larger without them. So we are very grateful for their support. Hold on, I'm just going to go past that. So this weekend, so this event, everyone on this call is attending the Woodbury event. And if you're not, then the next call is next Monday. You should be on that call. But we are going to be at Woodbury Middle School. The thing that you need to know about Woodbury Middle School is, now I've never been there, but when you turn on School Drive, as you drive down School Drive, the first school you come to is actually the elementary school. So don't go to that one. Go all the way down to the middle school, and you'll need to park in the back lot and enter through at the athletic doors. That will be your, well, those are the doors that are going to be open, and that's going to be your fastest route to the check-in table. And just as a note, they will be selling light concessions if you're interested. I know you guys are only there for a couple hours, but kids get thirsty, kids get hungry, whatever. We will be selling merchandise this year as well. This is a sample of our t-shirt. It's really very cute in person. It was designed by an FLL and FTC alumni who now has a real job doing graphic design. So we were really excited that she did this for us. And this is a picture of our seasonal pin that we did this year. So we'll be selling the pins and the color changing pencils, the erasers, and the t-shirts at merchandise. And we accept cash, credit, and checks. So just so you know. Hopefully everyone has already filled out their demographic survey because they're due today. And if you haven't filled it out, you will probably be receiving an email from Bruce tomorrow saying, please fill it out. It's really important that we have those demographic surveys. It's information that our funders are asking for. Also, it helps us, we will prepackage your medals for your kids, and we need to know how many kids are on your team. Also, at the end of that demographic survey, there will be a space for you to put your address in. If you win an award, if you're part of a school or something, we don't want to just send it to school and have the award just sitting at the school. We want to make sure that you actually receive your award. So there's a space there that says where to send your awards. And so if you win something, that's where we're going to send it to. So it's really important that you fill out that form. The other thing that's really important is that you have filled out your first consent and release form. We need one per participant and one per coach. And you can do it one of two ways. They are if you look under required forms, I have this all laid out, but you can either print out your roster that is generated on your first dashboard. If you had your team members, or actually their parents, complete that form online, it once the parent submits their signature and everything and says it's okay, that kid's name gets added to a list on your dashboard. It creates a roster. You just print it out. Or you might have had them fill out paper forms. We have copies of those paper forms on our required forms page as well. So if you don't have those things done yet, please try to get those done this week. We'd really appreciate it. And you will be handing all that stuff in at check-in. So what are you going to bring? So obvious things, kids, robot, things like that. But we want you to bring your all your loose pieces. So for practice. So in the pits, there's going to be a practice table. And High Tech Kids will provide the mat and all the pieces that get stuck down, that get dual locked down. So all those models that attach to the mat. We will not have the audience members, the orange guys. So bring your orange guys, the experts, anything that's loose, the pedestal we won't have. Don't forget your art piece. So when you go and run your official matches, we're going to have all those pieces, all the loose pieces, all the minifigs. But at the practice tables, we're not going to have anything that can walk away. And what that means too is, it's a lot of those models, like practically every model has a minifig on it, right? We're going to be taking all the minifigs off. Anything that can walk away, or that can just get broken off and create a mess. And so we tested it. It doesn't affect how the models work, but just know that those pieces aren't going to be on your practice tables. So you might want to, if you want to practice with that stuff, you can bring it and stick it back on. But for sure, we're not going to have all those 4 loose pieces listed on the side. Also, you want to bring those consent forms that I just talked about, because when you check in, I'm going to ask you for those. Don't forget to bring all your attachments, all of your cords to charge your robot and everything, your computer if you need it, your judging presentation, all your materials. Make sure your kids and parents know where they're going. They have the correct address to the school. Woodbury has a couple of middle schools, so only one is called Woodbury Middle School, but just to make sure that everybody knows where they're going. All right, so when should you arrive? So if you're in wave 1, you arrive at 8. Wave 2, you arrive at 12:15. We ask that people don't come early because we want to make sure the wave 1 teams get done before the wave 2 teams arrive, so that we can we can clean off the tables for you and everything else. You should, when you submit your forms, when you check in, then we will turn around and give you an envelope that has all your team medals in it. There'll be 1 medal per team member based on your demographic survey. Then there will also be 2 pins in there for coaches this year. And so when you check in and I give you, or whoever is there giving you your medals, it's up to you if you give them to the kids at the beginning or at the end, or maybe you're having a pizza party later on that night to watch the awards ceremony and you're going to give it to them then. Once you guys get those medals, you're in charge. But before you leave, please open up that count and make sure that you have the right amount of medals, because we're only human. Sometimes we make mistakes. We will have extras there if we have shorted you at all. So just make sure before you leave, you have enough medals. And here's the general event schedule. So like I said, the morning people will come at 8. You'll be done around 12:05. The afternoon people will come at 12:15. So you can see we don't have a lot of time to flip and clean up after wave 1. So we're really asking that those of you in wave 1, once you're done, if you can pack everything up and move out, that would be really great so that we can wipe down all the tables and get ready for wave 2 people. And also the wave 2 people, please don't come early and expect to put your stuff in the pit area. You can come early and watch, and wave 1 people can stay late and watch. That's all fine. You just can't be in the pits because we just don't have enough space for that. So we appreciate your cooperation on that. So some people, when I say pits, they don't know what a pit is. So just really quick, it is an area where there is a table for each team. That table is your spot to put your coats and your stuff. It's your home base. Each table will have a little sign on it that has a sign that has your team number and team name. New this year, we made the pit signs. They have the schedule on them, and the schedule is in time order. That was something that came from our end of the year survey, that people wish those signs could be in time order. So we rearranged them so that they are that way. And by the way, if you do look on the Woodbury event page, there is a link that says you can get the old-fashioned schedule like we had before, that it's in little tiny, 5-point font. But there's another link there that says pit sign / team schedule. And that's your actual pit sign. So if you wanted to give something to your parents and they only care about your schedule, that'll be your sign, and it will be, all your stuff will be laid out right there. It's one big PDF of everybody's. So you'll have to scroll through, and I believe they're numerical. So that's a new thing that we did. There will also be practice tables that I talked about in that pit area. So people sometimes ask us why we do that, and we do it so that you guys can test out your robots, because we know that kids are going to get there. They're going to want to turn on their robot. They're going to want to make sure that nothing happened to their robot between the time they left home and by the time you guys got to the school. Also, you can try out new stuff. You can program new things to your robot. If you see something easy that you can do, we just ask that you limit your time to 5 minutes if there's other people waiting. And we're also asking you to please do not bring your wooden Lego table or mat to put on the floor. We don't have enough space for stuff like that on the floor, and it's a little bit of a hazard. So we'll have 2 practice tables there for the teams to use, and it should be plenty. All right, so when you're at the event, if you have a question, so if you have a robot question, please approach one of our head referees. I believe on Saturday we will probably have 2, and I think we only have 1 on Sunday because there's more teams on Saturday. Head judge, if you have questions about judging, we'll have a head judge roaming around. And when in doubt, there will be High Tech Kids staff there. They're dressed in purple. And we're usually roaming around, or if you can't find us, you can kind of find your way to the officials room, and we're often lurking in there as well. So please ask one of these people if you have questions at the event. So there are going to be, the teams are divided into judging groups. A judging group is like its own event. So each judging group has a maximum of 12 people. So on Saturday, there'll be 4, and I believe on Sunday, there will be 3 judging groups. So you are competing really only against the teams in your group. So you're only competing against 11 other teams. So you should, if you look at the schedule, it looks like there's more people there on Saturday, but really you're still only in groups of 12. And the other thing to remember is that you should check in about 5 minutes prior to judging and robot performance. There will be check-in stations at each of those places. So there was a judging question earlier, and if you look on our website under FLL, and then I have a tab there called 2023 Masterpiece. If you open that up, there is a section about judging, and this is a graphic taken from a judging sheet that is posted there, but this kind of gives you an idea. First has this timeline, and so I just mimicked their timeline to their timeline is for a 30-minute session. So I'm gonna make their timeline to be 2 15-minute sessions. But in general, in judging, so we welcome spectators. Everybody needs to silence their phones, you know, so that they're not distracting. So teams will be given a minute to set up, and then 5 minutes for their presentation, and then there's 9 minutes of Q&A. So any time that doesn't get used for either the setup or the presentation will get used. I mean, we'll just give the judges a little bit more time to ask some questions. And so that is a 15-minute session. Teams will have access to a table in both the project and the innovation the robot design and the innovation project judging session. So just be prepared to, when the team comes in, the kids, and this is more for the project, because people tend to bring more things for the project, but the kids should be the ones setting up whatever it is you're setting up. But we will not have access to any of the technology in those classrooms. So if there's a projector, we're not allowed to use that projector. If there's a whiteboard or whatever, we're guests in these schools, so we are trying to disturb as little as possible in each one of these classrooms. So if you need something for your project or your presentation, you need to bring that. But keep in mind that the kids should be setting all that up, and it's part of your setup time. So if you are setting things up, that's something you should practice at home, practice during your session, you know, have the kids carrying whatever it is they're carrying, walking into a space and setting it up, you know, on a table or whatever. And you should also know that there will be core values judges in each of your judging sessions. So it'll be robot design plus a core values judge, project plus a core values judge. All right. So for your robot performance, it'll be really obvious where robot performance is. It'll be in a gym. It'll be fairly loud. So once the kids check in, they will tell the kids kind of where to go to queue up to be the next ones on the table. So behind the stanchions, behind the where the robot performance is, it's only the kids. But generally, the robots are autonomous. Devices may not be used to drive or start the robot. I know during practice with the Spike Primes, it's really easy to use the like an iPad or a tablet or something. But everything has to be downloaded onto that brick, and they can't use an iPad or tablet to start or stop their robot. It has to all be done by either actuating a sensor or pushing a button. During robot performance, the teams are going to use all the mission models and the challenge sets that we provide and that we've built. And when at the end of the 2.5 minutes, the referees score via a tablet. And so the kids are going to go down that tablet with the referees and agree or not agree. If they agree, the referee's going to hit submit, and that score immediately will hit the board. It's an immediate thing. We don't use video replays. However, if the kids think they got a 200 and it hits the board and it says 25, that's a question, right? And so they should immediately come back, find the head referee and say, we think our score, you know, can you have them check our score? Because with the tablets, accidents do happen, but they need to do that immediately, because once once a couple of rounds go, the referees aren't going to remember. But I mean, I was a referee and I had made mistakes too, and if they came to me right away, I would say, oh yeah, they did get that. And it's like, oh gosh, both of us, the kids and I, missed it. So things can be fixed, but you need to ask right away, and you need to ask to talk to the head referee. So with robot performance, your very, very first round will be your practice round. And then you will have 3 more rounds that are your official rounds. So your practice round will be in the big gym with the referees and everything else. It's not in the pits at your practice, at that practice table there. It's a scheduled timed practice round. And then the highest score of your last 3 rounds is the one that is used in determining advancement. All right. So our Minnesota scoring app has been up on the website again under that FLL 2023 masterpiece. I encourage you to open it up, have the kids look at it so they're a little familiar with it. It's different than the first one, or the one that was done by First, and of the other ones that are kind of out there. And there weren't any robot game updates. There haven't been for a while. So hopefully you guys are all up on those. I don't think there's been an update since, I don't know, October. So we're good with updates. Let's see. Oh, advancement and awards. So we're going to advance from each judging group. And again, remember that it is a quarter of each one of these things. Your core values, your robot design, your robot game, your highest robot game score, and then your project score. So you can't necessarily judge how your entire day is going based on your robot game score. You could be having a kind of okay day, but maybe you're doing great in judging, or you could be doing great in the robot game and the opposite is happening in judging. So just know that it is going to be 25% of all of this. And then the rubrics are going to be emailed out. They're usually emailed out by Monday, Tuesday. I'll say Tuesday because Jeannie's going to be gone this week, so she might not be getting them out right away. But she usually gets those out Monday, Tuesday. And then the awards will be sent. Any awards that are won, our trophies are sent out in the mail. Also Monday, Tuesday, we try to get those out on Monday as much as possible. And since this is the only FLL event this weekend, your award ceremony will be at 6 o'clock, both nights, both Saturday and Sunday on our Twitch channel. And that's it. So do we have... Oh,
Yeah,
it looks like, I'm sorry, I didn't know Cheryl was on today. All right. Are there questions out there that haven't been answered?
Yeah, there are a couple out there.
All right, let's see.
See if I can scroll up and find them.
Okay.
See, so I included a link in the chat to find all of the challenge documents. That is the official First page that has all the links in it. The last update was either the 16th or 18th of October.
Yeah, it was
and
a while ago.
I don't think we'll see any more.
I don't think so either.
Then we had a question.
Okay.
Can the audience members, the orange minifigs, be divided between the 2 homes after inspection? Absolutely. When the kids come up to the table, they go through inspection first, and that is when the 12-inch or the 1-foot ceiling is in effect. So as long as everything that they have fits within both launch areas under a 12-foot ceiling, they can use all that stuff. If everything that they have fits in one launch area under a 12-foot ceiling, then they get the bonus points. So there was a question also about if their attachment is longer than 12 inches. And that is just fine as long as it fits within that area during inspection.
All right. And then there's another one that says, can you place all audience members in one spot and still get 5 points per?
Yep, we're getting to that one, Vicky.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
So
ahead of you.
yeah, after they pass inspection, then the kids can split up. So the team does need to split between the 2 sides of the table. And First offers a little bit of guidance there as far as if you have a team of 2, they do have to be 1 on either side of the table. Or if you have a team of 3, it's got to be 2 on one side, 3 on the other. If you have more kids than that, they can divide up however they would like to. Remember that once the kids are on one side of the table, they must stay there through the entire 2.5-minute match. They cannot be running from or moving from side to side. So if they are switching in and out as technicians, they need to be on the right side of the table or the correct side of the table. As they are switching or going to their respective sides, they can split up the audience members however they would like to the two home areas. They can take whatever pieces of the robot, attachments, the robot they need to each home area, and they can take the one expert that starts in home to whichever home area they need to. Hopefully that answers a couple of those questions. Then we had in mission 3, the immersive experience. You're pushing down if you're actuating the mission via the orange lever, you're pushing down on that orange lever, or you're pushing down on the platform. If you are actuating using the screens, you're pushing up the screens. So the screens, the platform must go down, the screens must come up in order for that mission to score. And then in mission 6, the speaker lever, what is the starting position of the speaker lever? So the speaker lever starts to the right and must be rotated to the left to score. And there are a couple decent examples of that in the instructions, the missions. Then can you place all audience members in one spot and still get 5 points per member? Yes, you can. You can take all 7 audience members, put them in one spot. You would get 5 points for each audience member, plus 5 points for having audience members in one of the target locations. But they can get more points if they have audience members in more than one target location. And then how many points do you lose if you run over an audience member? You don't lose any points if you run over audience members. You take them out. If they fall off the robot or your attachment, then you live in your own mess. If you're talking about the experts, they don't specifically lose points for running over experts that are already out on the field. If it happens consistently and it is part of their strategy, or it is part of their strategy, then whatever the robot does after it runs over and breaks the expert would not count. So any time that you damage a mission model in an attempt to access another mission model or to score points, then those points would not be valid.
Question on the phone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is an expert considered damaged if they tip it over, or does it actually have to come apart?
It just has to come apart. So if they tip it over, that's fine. We consider damage to the expert if the expert, the minifig, and the base have been separated. If the expert is no longer hanging on to their pen or their notebook or their laptop, that's fine. We don't consider that damage. But if the expert and the base are separated, that is considered damage.
Thank you. And while I have you, is a technician allowed to, we have 5 kids on our team, is a technician allowed to swap out with another kid and then also swap back in again, or is it once they're out, they're out?
They can swap back and forth as much as they want on their side of the table.
Thank you so much.
And then will the practice tables have boats from the movie set? So yes, they will
No.
have the boat. Oh,
No,
they won't
not
have the
the,
boat?
no, not the practice tables. Because they're not stuck down.
Okay,
I don't think so.
gotcha. We may have to double check that one. Because I think we had the boat last 2 weeks ago
Did we?
on
Okay.
the practice table. Because the one side is stuck down and then the boat is on the tether.
No, you're right. You're right. There was one that you skipped. Where do we find where the experts go? And I actually looked it up. So Jeff asked that on page 28. On the robot game rulebook, there is a section on where the experts start. If that's what your question was.
And then there's
Yeah,
also an
well,
update.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yep.
I also had another question. Are we allowed to, so our starting points for our robot, we took photos of where they start and then we printed them. Are we allowed to bring like a notebook with that kind of stuff in it for the match or no?
The kids can bring one sheet of paper per side
Okay.
of the table. So
Okay.
take all of those pictures and put them on one sheet of paper. It can be front and back, and
We're legit.
and
Okay.
print it out.
Got it. Thank you.
And then
I have a
Cheryl threw,
question.
yeah,
Can you have a couple of your audience members on your art piece?
yes,
Go ahead.
yes, you can, as long as you are not using the pedestal. So if you are just delivering the art piece, let me double check this too.
So if your art piece is being delivered on the pedestal and you're trying to get the bonus points for your art piece on the pedestal in the museum, the art piece can only be touching the pedestal.
Yep.
And the pedestal cannot touch any equipment. So if you're delivering, someone had sent me a picture today of the pedestal, the art piece, and then they had the experts and stuff attached to it onto the art piece. And the experts and the audience members would score, but you wouldn't get the extra bonus points. And the art piece would even score, but you wouldn't get the extra bonus points for the art piece being on the pedestal.
Yep.
Does that answer your question?
Well, it brings up another.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That brings up another. So what we were doing is we had our pedestal with our art piece on it, and then we kind of piled in our orange audience members into the arm, and then it pushes it all into the space it needs to go to. Does that not get you the points to do it that way? Because the audience members are actually touching the pedestal, right? They're kind of all piled in, and it pushes everything out there. You can't do that.
So you can do that.
No,
The
you can do
audience
that.
members, yeah, the audience members are mission models. They are not equipment.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
So yeah, the audience members just cannot be touching the art piece if you want the bonus for the art piece being on the pedestal.
Got it.
And there was a question about the schedule. If things are running ahead of schedule, will they move teams up to get done earlier?
No.
And yeah, we do not do that. We
Really, the schedule is based on judging. So even if the robot rounds are moving really fast, we can't move people up because of judging. Judging's on the 15-minute judging is actually in a 20-minute cycle. So we can't move that any faster than it already is.
Yep. And
So
then
there's-
there was another question about judging. Is the table always centered in the room? No, it is not. Each judging room can be set up differently depending on how it was set up for the class that typically uses it or how the judge set it up for that day. So make sure your kids are accustomed to accommodating whatever happens to be in the room. It could be a big table, it could be a small table, it could be a desk or two desks pushed together. We use whatever we have in the room. We try not to disturb them too terribly much. So if the kids come in and they want to use a table that's across the room, we try to discourage that. So try to make sure that the kids are used to accommodating whatever is available.
I think we
There you
skipped
go.
one. There was a question up here that says, is it okay if our attachment is taller than 12 inches?
Yep, I did answer that one already.
Oh, did you? All right, I
Um,
didn't hear you.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it is okay if the attachment is taller than 12 inches, as long as it breaks down and fits within the launch area and under the 12-inch ceiling for inspection. Once they are done with inspection, that 12-inch ceiling no longer applies, and the robot can get as tall as it would like to.
All right, the
then-
next question is, I
can-
understand that, oh, go ahead, Cheryl.
I just want to make sure that one got clarified. Matt my answer wasn't clear, so I'll let you guys.
Okay.
answer that one.
It says, I understand that the robot must be started by pushing the button, but when the robot is in home and attachments are being changed, can they use a computer to change the program they are running for the next series of missions? And that is not correct. So you can't even bring your computer, your tablet or whatever into the performance area. Everything has to be downloaded onto that hub. And so as the kids scroll through the missions, you look at the hub and it scrolls, it starts at 0, 1, 2, 3. That's how the kids will change which program they're running.
Yep.
Got it.
So make
Thank
sure.
you.
And and if you need help with that, Matt, I would email Jeannie. She will be back later this week.
No, that makes sense.
Okay. All
So
right.
I understand that.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't know that functionality was in the robot, but
Oh,
I totally get what you're saying, and that
Okay.
makes complete sense. So thank
okay.
you.
Yep.
And make sure that the robot is charged and on when you come to the performance area. So it takes a little bit for some of these robots to start up, and we'd like them to be fully charged so they can do the 2.5 minutes as well. If the kids have any sensor calibrations or anything, they can do that after inspection, and they're free to move the robot around to get different colors or whatever they need to do. If the kids do see something that is out of place on the mat on the field, or if there's something they would like checked, have them talk to the ref and have the ref actuate it or have the ref set it up. We don't want kids reaching over and doing stuff because things get broken, or other teams might say that's not fair. So we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance.
Josh, for the
I-
sensor calibrations, does that have to stay within the base to run the calibration?
It does not have to be within the home area. No, if they
Okay.
need a different color, they can put the robot, as long as they let the ref know, hey, we're going to calibrate our color sensor on purple.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So just make sure
And
you let
then-
the ref know.
Do you know how long it takes before the robots like shut down if there's no activity on them?
I think it's pretty quick on the newer robots. So just make sure that as your team is walking out to go to the performance area, go to the queuing area, that the robot is fully charged and on.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a question, can Bluetooth be used to tweak and upload code while in the pits prior to the robot game? Yes, however, make sure that you have named your robot something unique, because all these robots come with the same name. So you could be inadvertently, we really would prefer you not use Bluetooth and to actually use the cable, because that way it's a safeguard for you and it's a safeguard for all the teams around you. So, and I would encourage everyone to name their robot something, Fred 1, Fred 2, just not the name that it came with, because they all came with the same name. So that could be a problem.
Mhm.
Let's see.
And it
Are
sounds
there-
like there are 20 memory areas, 20 memory slots in the Spike Prime. So plenty of space to download programs to. And keep in mind that on the Spike Prime, when you're cycling through the programs that are downloaded on it, only numbers show on the Spike Prime module. So make sure that the kids have a list on their one sheet of paper that they can have at each side of the field, that they have a list of program 1 does this mission, program 2 does that mission, so that they're not trying to remember which one to pick. And
I have
then-
a question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I was actually the one that emailed today. So my team basically developed a box. So it's just a very thin box. And then off the handles of the pedestal, they basically did like a column and then one of those white little clips. So we're saying they should not do that, correct? And then they leave the box at the site. It comes off the robot.
So they put the pedestal in the box and deliver
Correct,
the
yep.
box and the pedestal
It's
out.
just like a 1x7. I don't know exactly. I have to go look how long it is. Yep.
Yeah,
So
so,
they would not want to do that.
Okay.
If the box stays out and is touching the pedestal, then they would not get
Uh-huh.
the bonus points.
Okay, so even if the box is touching the pedestal.
right, because the box is, when I sent you that, the
Yeah.
box is equipment.
Okay,
So if
but
the pedestal
for
is
the
touching equipment,
okay, but for the audience piece, they could do that.
Yes.
They
Mhm.
can put him and then just leave the box.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, as long as
Just not
the
the
audience
pedestal.
members, as long as the audience members are completely within the target area, then they
Yep.
just go.
Mhm.
And same with the other characters. They can
The
do that as
experts.
well. The
Yes.
experts, thank you.
Yep,
Okay,
yeah,
just
the
not the
ex-
pedestal.
Yep, the experts
Okay.
just need to be partially within the target area and the right
Mhm.
target area as well.
Correct, yeah.
And they need to still be in one piece. So the expert must be attached to the base.
Okay, yep, they're in one piece. Okay, but they don't have to be standing, correct? They can be
No.
laying down.
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
Okay.
that would be impressive though, actually.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So when you say pedestal should not be touching any equipment, can we try to deliver in a box? And if it's delivered in a box, but it's not touching the box, will it count?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
As long as the box is not touching the pedestal. So nothing that the team brings to the match can be touching the pedestal to get the bonus points. And nothing, the art piece can only be touching the pedestal to
So
get the bonus
can the
points.
art piece or audience can touch at the base of the pedestal or no?
So the audience members can be touching the pedestal as long as the audience members are not touching the art piece.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Question on the phone?
Yep.
Are the tables like cleaned or wiped or anything in between the matches at all? Or are we allowed to do that?
They are not cleaned or wiped between matches. They are very clean. When we set them up, we make sure that there isn't any dust on there. We try to flatten the mats out as much as possible and make sure that the mats are in the right place on the table. And we would not allow teams to come out and dust off the table. So make sure that if the robot's wheels being exceptionally clean are part of their strategy, that they are actively cleaning their wheels at the tournament.
Sounds good. Thank you.
all right.
And then there was
So
a question
Where
about
are we? Where are we on the questions, Josh?
are there rules about where the kids can stand and how many at each side? So we kind of talked about that. First does state that the team must split up if it's a team of two, one team member at each end of the table. If it's a team of three, two members at one end, one member at the other end. If it's more than that, if it's four kids, probably most teams are just going to divide equally, but they don't necessarily have to. You have to have at least one team member at each end of the table. Remember, once they are at one side of the table, they can't go from side to side. They can switch in and out as technicians on that side of the table as much as they would like to.
And someone
Yeah.
asked about, go ahead.
We have one member of our team who is going to be there up to the very end, but may miss the last robot, our last run, and he is not a vital member of actually kind of being involved with setting up the robot or any of the missions necessarily on this part. Is there a deduction if somebody has to leave?
No,
No.
no, not at all.
Okay.
And along that same line, if you have a child who's sick, please have them stay home. And that will not, we'll give everybody medals. It'll be good. Okay, so there was another question about advancement. So I believe in the emails that I sent you guys, I put the advancement out there. And so right now on Saturday, we're advancing 7, and on Sunday, we're advancing 5.
Excellent. Then there was a
And we have,
question.
there was, okay, I'm sorry. There was more to that question about wild cards. We have very few wild cards this year because we have more events. So that means we have more judging groups, and that means we have less wild cards. So
Will it be 2 per judging group again this year then?
no, because there are 7 on Saturday.
Okay.
So
All right. And then there was a question about can the audience members be part of your art piece? No, they cannot. So the audience members are mission models, so they cannot be part of the art piece. And then how many points do you run over for running over an expert? You don't lose points for running over an expert. You just can't score anything after you run over the expert if that is part of your mission strategy or if it happens consistently. Can the audience be attached to the pedestal? Yes, they can, as long as they are not touching the art piece and they are completely within the target area.
can we, go ahead. Can we get all the audience? Can we keep all the audience on one side, or do we have to split that?
The kids can move them wherever they would like. They can be all on one side. They can be all on the other side. You can split them in half. There can be 1 on one side and 6 on the other side. So whatever works for the team's mission strategy. And then if the purple minifig is knocked off the immersive experience, do you still get the points? So there are several mission models that may be a bit delicate depending on how you choose to actuate them. If the purple minifig is knocked off, or one of the minifigs is knocked off from the immersive experience, and it's an accident, that is benefit of the doubt. If it is part of their mission strategy to, let's say, use the purple minifig to actuate that model, that is not advisable. And if it consistently breaks, then we would not count that. So make sure that that the robot is moving in such a way that it does not consistently break things, and that the kids are using the robot to actuate mission models in a way that it does not purposefully or consistently break things.
All right, when loading code onto the hub, can they choose which program they're running and have it start after pressing the right or left control button? Or does it have to immediately start from the time the circle button is pressed?
So when you turn your robot on, you use the right and left buttons to select the program, and then you press the circle button to start that program.
So when the kids are setting up, when they're getting all set up, they can choose which program they're going to run. The ref is going to ask them, are you ready? And they say yes. The ref is going to give a thumbs up, and then all they have to do is push the button, if that answers your question.
So that was my question.
Oh, okay.
So within the code, you can have the events of when the left button is pressed and when the right button is pressed. So within each slot of the hub, you could technically have like a left button and a right button program as well. So I know that you switch between each slot in the hub with the left and the right button, and then you have to press the circle button to select that program. But then from there, you would be able to press the left button or the right button in order to actually start it with the event code.
That's you can actuate your robot however you actuate it. You could do it by putting a colored brick in front of a sensor. So
Okay.
it doesn't, your robot just cannot start moving until after 3, 2, 1, let go.
Okay.
So however you make it move. If that
Okay,
makes
thanks.
sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once it starts moving, if the kids need to do something with it, grab it. If it's still within home, then they just need to relaunch. If it is partially outside of home or outside of home, then they will lose a precision token and they must relaunch.
All right, someone asked, are coaches supposed to arrive early or does everyone arrive at 8? We would never make you show up way earlier than your kids. No, you can arrive at 8. It's fine. It's fine.
And then there was
And-
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and in fact, I believe for both the morning and the afternoon waves, there is at least a half an hour before the first teams would do something. So there's plenty of time to get there, check in, get your bearings.
Excellent. And then there was a expert follow-up question. If you accidentally push the expert someplace on the field and then run over it at a later time while doing something else, does that mean that that mission you tried to do does not score? So the example here was the boat. If the expert is bumped, falls over by the boat, and then either the boat or the robot runs over the expert while doing that mission, that would still score as long as it is not happening consistently or part of their mission strategy. If it's an accident, we give the kids benefit of the doubt. Then we are putting all audience pieces and art piece in one frame. Is it okay? So if you're taking an attachment, a box, a frame, something to house all the stuff you want to get out to the museum, you just want to make sure that whatever is transporting the pedestal is not touching the pedestal at the end of the match. If it is touching the art piece, then that's okay. The art piece will still score, but in order for the bonus points, the pedestal cannot be touching any equipment.
All right, can you clarify when the kids can push the button? 1, 2, 3, Lego. Yes, it is on the L,
Yep.
the L of the Lego.
Yep. And then if the robot gets hung up and the kids need to rescue it, if the kids can reach it, they can gently grab the robot and rescue it. If they cannot reach it, or if they would like the ref's help, they can just ask the ref to grab the robot and rescue it for them. If it is partially outside of home or completely outside of home, they would lose a precision token and must relaunch.
I have a question about the position of the mat. Like our team is using the ultrasonic sensor for the distance from the back of the table. How accurately the mat is positioned? Because first is saying 6 3/4 of inch from each side. Is it that is how it will be placed there?
It will be that to the best of our ability. There's also a variable there because the tables are all made by hand. They're not machine made, so they're not perfect. The mats are also, interestingly enough, not perfect. They're not all the same size. So the mat is centered on the table, left to right or east to west, I guess, and pulled down to the south, which is the bottom end. So it will be to the best that we can get them centered.
Then will the gym have wagon or cart parking area again?
Yep.
Mhm.
We're not sure where, but it will be there.
Very often what we'll do is if the kids need to bring a cart into the performance area or a wagon, have them bring it in, grab their stuff, get it set up, and then get the wagon or the cart out of the area. It can be out in the stands, it can go back to the pits, but as long as it's not someplace where people are tripping over it and such.
All right. Do we reach the end?
That's
I think we
the end of the
did.
questions in the chat. So are
Is
there any
there-
other questions out there?
Yeah. Anybody want to unmute and any questions? I thinking about
I guess I
anything
do
else?
have one quick one, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So I know, the gracious professionalism thing is a big part of all of it. I was at one of the rookie coach trainings earlier in the season. I've got a team of 6 and 4 of them are neurodivergent. So we've got some big reactions. I'm just kind of curious if we notice as a coach, one of our children having a difficult time, is it in our best interest to just not interfere? Would it be appropriate to step in and try to help that child de-escalate a little bit? I guess, what is sort of your thoughts from that perspective?
Okay, so 2 things. So 1, send me an email and let me know what team you are so that we can let the judges know.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I guess that is up to you and like these kids' parents, because we don't want the kids to have a complete and total meltdown. We want them to have a good day, right? And so if you have some tool that helps them de-escalate really fast, and can make it not be a whole thing that ruins their day, I would rather have them do that, right?
Okay.
So send me an email and just let me know, and we will just let the judges know that you have kids with some challenges, and we see that more often than you might think. So as long as they know ahead of time, and so we can just let them know if something happens and a coach steps in, or a parent even, they will know why.
Okay.
So
all right, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, we want the kids to have fun. We want this to be a great experience for them. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember that the judges and the refs, we're there for the kids. We are definitely being mindful of the rules, but we want the kids to have as much fun as possible and to learn as much as possible. So if a kid needs help, feel free to help them.
Yeah.
And we do
definitely.
welcome spectators in the judging, but please make sure that you are quiet and come in, sit down. We have had some pretty disrespectful visitors in the judging area, and once the door to a judging room is closed, nobody else is allowed in. So it's just, that is when the team starts, and we want to be respectful of all the hard work that the teams have done.
Makes sense. And just to clarify, when they're down in the performance area, coaches are not with the team. It is just the kids.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you need to have someone standing there to keep them calm while they're waiting, because what will happen is they'll check in and then they'll go to like a queuing space. And so it might be 5 minutes or so. If you really need someone to be standing with them for that 5 minutes before they walk up to the table, let us know. We can talk to the head referee about that, and that shouldn't be a problem. If something is happening and you have to de-escalate something. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And at any time, if there are questions or concerns, let the head ref know, let the head judge know, let somebody in a purple shirt know. A high-tech kid's purple shirt, not just a random person in a purple shirt. But
no, really, a random person in a purple shirt. That works too.
Hi, Vicky. I know we are running out. We are running out of time, but just a quick one. You mentioned that it's not fixed that from each judging group you will progress 2 teams, but at the same time you mentioned that you will compete against your own group only. So how that would work?
So we will be advancing definitely the top team from each judging group, and then as much as possible. So then right now we have 4 judging groups and we have 7 slots. So then we have 3 left. So then that is a determination that the judges get together and they talk with the head judge to determine that next advancement. And if we use a wild card, I don't know, it's all the judges determine all that. They know how many wild cards we have for the entire season, So this is only going to be our second event. So they will make a determination if they take an 8th team or not. Knowing that then because I think we only have 2 or 3 wild cards for the whole season. They have a conversation about those last 3 teams. That's how that works. So
Yeah. So in a way,
it's like a true deliberation.
Yeah. Okay, but in a way, they will compete within the groups and outside the groups as well, like within the whole other groups as well for the second position. I would say, like,
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
And that's just kind of the way the math worked out this year.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
that's fine. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. If there is nothing else, I'm going to give you guys back your cold and windy and snowy evening. But it looks like it's going to be beautiful this weekend. Last call. Anyone? Robot questions, judging questions. All right. Well, I want to wish you guys all good luck this weekend. I will actually not be in Woodbury, but you guys have a great event. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.